As a follow-up, given what you said, what would you say were the perspectives or other players in the sub-region like Sierra Leone, Ghana, and how did such perspectives shape or help to influence the outcome, the final outcome, as we saw it, or the developments in the sub-region, so to speak?
Well, let me start with Sierra Leone. That I know a lot of. I had revealed to the Sierra Leone authorities, because I found out in Tripoli that Fode Sako was very close to Taylor. And I had spoken to the ideologue of the RUF, a fellow called Professor Cleo Hansis. He's dead now. The one who gave me the RUF manifesto in '87. And I had told the Sierra Leoneans that there's going to be trouble, that these guys are coming called the RUF. I have a problem with them because they are dealing with this man called Taylor. So for Sierra Leone, they had to stop whatever was developing in Liberia. So of course, Mama was predisposed to ECOMOG being formed when we realized that it would be necessary to stop any regional confrontation. The best solution would be to go in as a force. In the case of Ghana, the Nigerians felt that they would go into Liberia. They had a responsibility as a major player to stop the crisis in Liberia. And so they wanted to convince the Ghanaians to go. That the Nigerians felt that if they had come in alone, it would give the impression to the French, the Ivorians, that they were stopping the interests of certain people. So they convinced the Ghanaians that if we want to help sister African countries, we have to go as a force in there to make sure that we separate the belligerents, the fighters, bring these people to discuss. It was based on that President Momo offered his country as a base for the Nigerians who had gone in with the 1,004 men force when they couldn't stop in Monrovia. The Ghanaian government was convinced it was necessary to come into Liberia to help. They sent forces too. The Guineans who were ready to come to those aid, but had been told that they will have to fight a war, probably with a backing against Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso, they decided to join because it was in the interest to ensure that no pro-Burkinabe or pro-Ivorian regime took power in Liberia. And if you notice, President Dawda Jarawa of the Gambia was then the chairman of ECOWAS. Every Francophone country refused to be a part of the initial ECOMOG. The 4 countries, except Guinea, the countries which were involved, Nigeria, the superpower of West Africa, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and the one country which still maintained its position like Secretary did, that it would be non-aligned and neutral. These 5 countries. Ivorians refused to come. Of course, Burkina Faso was not coming. The Senegalese refused to come at first. The Togolese said they were not coming. Benin said they were not coming. So the ECOWAS force was only the force of English-speaking West African country plus Guinea. And so the reality then was that you had to now get into Liberia by hook or by crook. And once Samuel Doe sent out the message that he would turn over power to anybody except Charles Taylor, an interim government, as I said, was formed. And ECOMOG responsibility was to bring in the interim government, install the interim government, divide the belligerents, separate them, go for a peace conference, and try to resolve the Liberian crisis by taking very little casualties. But you know the history. Taylor refused, established his own government. He said he was not a gun for hire for any politician, and he will fight until he got to Monrovia, fighting in shore, with the backing of his key supporters, the Libyans, the Ivorians, the Burkinabes, and as we have found, others who felt that they could exploit the situation. So we come back again to political opportunism. Why they exploited the situation, why they did not support ECOMOG. That is what the historians are still trying to understand. Had ECOMOG been supported at its fullest by West Africa, the war would have been over. The war would have been over by 1991-92. But there were divisions within ECOMOG, serious divisions. And the Nigerians who took the brunt, the expenses of maintaining the peace, by 1997, with the pressure from back home, they felt that it was enough. They gave power to Taylor. But that didn't end the crisis in Liberia. It was the beginning of a much more horrendous war, a much more deadly war. The consequences you all know, as many of you were here.